Well, guys, hell has officially frozen over. The Toronto Maple Leafs have made it out of the first round for the first time in 19 years. Man, I'm not going to lie, I'm actually really happy for this team. That's a lot of time to wait for a series win.
I'm so happy for this team, and I'm happy for Steve Dangle.
Yeah, that guy finally can relax a little bit. I know he's been pretty high strung, but I'm really happy for him and Leafs Nation that they finally got this win. This was a different team this year. We really noticed when we watched this series, adding some of these guys at the deadline like Ryan O'Reilly and Nola Chari, it really made a difference.
Yeah, another thing is that I feel like Tampa Bay, this is good for them too, because I feel like as good as they have been in the last 3-4 years, since 2019, they have not lost to an Eastern Conference team in the playoffs. That's impressive. That's one of the best dynasty team in our generation.
Yeah, before we get more into how Toronto did it and why this team's different and why they're so good, we got to talk about Tampa Bay because, like Hohen said, this team is the closest thing to a dynasty in my lifetime watching hockey. Back-to-back Stanley Cup wins and then also making it to the final last year against Colorado. Like, all the respect in the world for this team. Just John Cooper's such a good coach. In my opinion, he's the best coach in the NHL, and I love watching his interviews. He's so funny. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was just a very, very good series, hard-fought series between these two teams. And I think with Leafs playing this team so many times in the last 2 years, I think they figured out Vasilevsky. It was pretty clear. Vasilevsky had like an 80-some save percentage in the playoff run. It just, I think they solved him, but they were talking about shooting from the point, and they've been shooting from the point. They were just shooting everywhere.
Oh, yeah, like you noticed from some of the goals from Morgan Rielly when he won that one game in the series there from the point. Austin Matthews' first goal of the game last night when he was scoring, it was from the point. Like, I mean, a lot of these goals, like, they were coming in. They say he has trouble seeing from far away. I don't know how true that is, but I think the Leafs also got a lot of traffic in front of him in this series, and it just definitely paid off. Unfortunately for Tampa, this year just wasn't as easy to overcome as the past couple when they had some injuries. I mean, when you're without most of your defense for half this series, I mean, losing Eric Chernak to that Michael Bunting elbow early really hurt because this guy is a solid defensive defenseman who blocks shots, very physical player. And then they also had Hedman miss a game or two. Like, I mean, it's pretty rough. And, like, they did what they could. But, I mean, when Zach Bogosian and Fleury are in there substituting, it's not going to be the same as Norris caliber defenseman and then a really solid top four defenseman like Chernak.
Yeah, another big piece that they lost over the offseason last year is Madonna, right?
That is a big loss, And Platt.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
Palat.
these are guys that were part of those cup runs for all 3 years. And not having them, you clearly noticed a bit of the difference. Although I will say, in a lot of these games, Tampa Bay did play very well.
Oh, they did play very well. Actually, I can't blame the top six at all. I think the top six did their job. The biggest notable difference for me personally from the offensive side for the Tampa Bay Lightning this year in this playoff run is that they lacked the production on the third line. The Nick Paul line couldn't score. Remember, Nick Paul and them scored timely goals in the first round last year.
They did get that one to secure the Game 5 win, but other than that, they were kind of quiet. Really impressed with the Cirelli line. Cirelli line was probably the best line for Tampa Bay. They looked really good in this series.
Yeah, and it was also good to see Brayden Point playing a full year. But you know what? This is great for Tampa. They get some rest now. They haven't had rest in a long time. I feel like this team badly needs that rest.
No, exactly. Come back stronger next year. Now we got to look at Toronto's win here and how they did it. For me, it starts with one player who especially took over and just played absolutely amazing this year, and that's Mitch Marner. This guy was absolutely tremendous in this series. 11 points in 6 games. He really drove this Toronto offense, and it wasn't just that he was putting up points. It was just his all-around play. This guy kills penalties. He was +9 in this series against Tampa Bay. And I mean, whenever Toronto needed to get something going, whether it was John Tavares was struggling, they played him with Tavares. If they needed to get Matthews going, he was playing with Matthews. Mitch really took over.
Another guy that really impressed me is actually John Tavares. You know, John Tavares scored that overtime goal. There were a lot of stretches in this series where he would produce, and that's exactly what they needed from him. Another playoff runs, I remember he was injured in one of those years, and then last year I don't recall him being as effective as he was this year. And it's good to have Ryan O'Reilly. Oh my God, how the hell was he?
Oh, you noticed such a big difference from Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, this guy early in the series, he got going. I mean, he was like getting points pretty much. I think it was 3 of the first 4 games. He was putting up like multi-point games.
Oh, yeah.
He was unreal in this series, just really took over. And you could see the difference of having the depth to be able to run him, especially when they split up the lines and had him at center, having Matthews, then Tavares, and then Ryan O'Reilly. Like, it was really nice because it's really hard for them to defensive assignments on Tampa when you have 3 solid centers like that you can run out.
Yeah, there's 2 other additions I want to add on. Noah Chari was a big help to this team. I noticed a big difference with the PK and everything in the bottom 6 with him in the lineup. And another guy I got a call on and saying that he did really well is Jake McCabe. He completed that top 4 on that defense.
Yeah, McCabe step up. So
Yeah.
it's no secret that Toronto really had troubles with the pairing of Giordano and Justin Hall.
Yeah.
Hall got scratched in that last game, the elimination game there in Game 6. He really struggled. He was on for 14 goals, really bad, out of the 21 at that time. But, man, Jake McCabe, really, him, Brody, as a shutdown, minus the one game they kind of struggled. This pair was really dominant. And then, of course, Morgan Rielly, debatably, so far, the best defenseman in the playoffs overall. Him and Heiskanen, pretty much the 2 guys who really have stood out to me the most. But Morgan Rielly had the same amount of goals he did in the playoff series that he did in the whole regular season. Like, this guy really stepped up when it mattered and had some very timely offensive plays.
Okay, I want to ask you one question. What do you think about Samsonov's performance in this series?
It was hot and cold. I got to be honest. There were some games where Sammy was letting in some really weak goals, but there was also like the Game 6 where he stood on his head and did exactly what he needed to do. I was actually telling Hohen when we were out for drinks before Game 6 there, I said I really think that this team has to win a low-scoring game finally. And hey, they won the game, Game 6, the elimination game, 2-1, exactly what they needed to do. They can't rely on always winning games 5-4, 4-3. Sometimes you just got to have a really solid defensive effort, and that's what they did to kind of get it done. One last guy I wanted to call out because I thought he was insanely good for such a young kid was how Matthew Nyes played in this series.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily get a ton of points. He got a couple, don't get me wrong. He got a couple assists. But just his overall physical play, his forecheck was unreal. This guy was getting in the corners. He was fighting for pucks. And the coach loved him so much he was promoting him to the top 6.
You know what's most impressive about this series too? Toronto won all 3 games in Amalie Arena.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's wild. That is very impressive.
Yeah, and good for them. They deserve this victory. They deserve this win. Deserve this series, and good for them. I'm very happy for all the Toronto nation, Toronto fans. Good for them.
Yeah, no, overall really great, and we can't wait to see them in the next round. But until next time, guys, take care and have a great day.
Take care. Bye.